The Kreg pocket jig is the subject of a lot of debate in the woodworking world, but regardless, they've proven to be a viable solution for a lot of applications, and so they're definitely here to stay. Pocket holes are most often and most reliably used in cabinetry. They're a solution that is both strong and fairly simple in the cabinet world. Over the years, though, we've seen folks use them for a lot more than just cabinetry with things such as tables of shapes and all sizes. This is typically where the debate begins. My take on this is fairly simple. Pocket screws are one of the main reasons that woodworking seemed more accessible to me 10 or 12 years ago, and yes, I made some of those tables of various sizes. And no, none of them exploded yet. I honestly have a few still in my house to this day. I don't normally use them for this type of application anymore because my joinery methods have gotten more refined over the years, but either way, I have the Kreg pocket hole jig to thank for getting me into woodworking. So let's dive into the nuts and bolts of the pocket screws. First up, Kreg pocket screws can be broken down into two categories, fine thread and coarse thread. Fine thread means that there are a larger number of threads per distance along the screw. Oftentimes this is referred to as TPI or threads per inch. A coarse thread screw is just the opposite. It has a smaller number of threads per distance. So what does that mean for pocket screws? Well, as a general rule of thumb, fine thread is recommended for hardwoods and coarse thread is for softwoods and plywood. That's pretty much it. Next, Kreg screws come in three different types: zinc, blue coat, and stainless steel. Zinc screws are used for typical applications that will be indoor, and they're what I personally use most of the time because most of my projects are indoor. However, if you need to build something that may be exposed to the elements, or if you're using pressure treated materials, then you want to opt for the blue coat screws. Kreg says that the blue coat screws feature 3 anti-corrosion layers, making them the perfect choice for a wide variety of indoor and outdoor projects. They also claim that they are over 400% more rust resistant than standard zinc screws. The third option is one that I've honestly never used before: stainless steel. Stainless steel screws are best suited for maritime applications, excessive exposure to water, and other exceedingly corrosive environments. Kreg says that those screws are the best in rust prevention. Next up, we have sizes. Now this is where it can get a little confusing. Kreg screws come in a variety of sizes: 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, and 4 inch. 3/4 and 1 inch screws are used for 1/2 inch material and come in either a pan head or a maxi lock head. I find 1 inch pan head screws to be the best option when I'm using 1/2 inch material because I find that they set down below the surface of the wood better. 1 inch screws can also be used for 5/8 inch material. 1.25 inch screws are used for 3/4 inch material. 1.5 inch screws are used for material that is 7/8, 1 inch, 1.1 inch, 1.25 inch, and 1 3/8 if you're using the Legacy pocket hole jig. However, if you're using the 720 model, they suggest a 2 inch screw for these applications. I don't have that newer model, so for anybody that does, hop down in the comments and let me know why that screw size is different for these two models. 1.5 inch screws are used for 2.5 inch material. Okay, so when I was editing this video, I realized I said that exactly backwards. 2.5 inch screws are used for 1.5 inch material. Just wanted to clear that up. There's now a Kreg Jig XL, and if you're using larger materials like 2x4s or 4x4s, Kreg says that this is the best option using either the 2.5 or the 4 inch XL screws. It's also worth noting that all of these Kreg screws use a square drive, and typically most kits come with the driver and drill bit, so you should have everything that you need. So if I missed a question that you've got, be sure and leave it down in the comments below, and if I don't have the answers, hopefully somebody else will and can keep the conversation going down there. And if you're interested in any other Kreg tools, check out either of these videos where I break down the Kreg Rip Cut and AccuCut, as well as 10 of my favorite Kreg tools.